Groups are trying to guide renters who need help.
Nationwide, Amherst, a data and analytics firm, estimates 28 million renters, about 22% of all households, are at risk for eviction. Some states have already lifted their moratoriums on evictions, and Michigan's is expected to end in just a couple of weeks. Ted Phillips is the executive director of United Community Housing Coalition in Detroit, a group working to help families stay in their homes.
So what have you been advising people to do, or have they been able to work with their landlords? What are they telling you?
Well, what we've been trying to do is provide some financial assistance and relocation assistance and legal assistance. My staff has been talking to landlords. Many have been willing to reduce late fees, cut out court costs, do some reduction in rent. It hasn't been really across the board, but many have been willing to do that. And we've been able to assist with making some payments with what the clients have available as well to resolve it so that when the court reopens, they won't be facing an eviction. What we're also fearful, though, of is that once hearings are allowed to be filed again, that many people will have fallen behind. We are running into a number of situations where tenants had judgments against them in March, for example, and then they lost employment and they weren't able to pay all or anything for April and May.
According to the National Multifamily Housing Council survey, 88% of apartment tenants made a full or partial rent payment by mid-May, down just 2% from last year at this time. But if and when assistance stops, that could change. And according to Phillips, we could see the destabilization of neighborhoods.
When properties become vacant, they're at high risk of being vandalized and stripped, and that is a danger to the community, and it certainly inflates property values and everything else. So we're really hopeful that landlords will see the advantage to them of working out arrangements to accept, less than what full payment would be, because they're going to be hurting as well. And if their properties are damaged, then they're going to be, not be able to rent them out anyway. We as a city, we as a state aren't really ready, I don't think, to deal with massive numbers of folks being evicted all at once. And the shelters are filled in the city of Detroit. There isn't any place for people to go. So that had to happen, and it should continue a little bit longer. But there also needs to be some greater support for landlords that they're small business folks too, in many instances. So there should be greater support there for them as well to make sure that they receive something.
There is frustration from landlords. They haven't had a break on their mortgages. Wayde Kohler is the head of the Wayne County Real Estate Investors Association and a landlord of 20-plus properties in Wayne County.
Have people been coming to the table and working with you from the landlord perspective?
One of the main things I've tried to do, especially with our group, is I've reached out to all the members saying the first thing you have to do is contact all your tenants. You have to tell them what's going on. Even though I have some tenants that make well over $100,000, I also have some Section 8 tenants that are the lower income bracket. And so I reached out to all of my tenants. I sent all of them, I have a 3-page letter that basically goes through all the services that are available. It's one of those things, if you have one rental that's vacant, or one rental that the tenant isn't paying you, you have 100% been affected by this situation. Whereas if you have 10 rentals and everyone's paying, it doesn't affect you. For me, I always have 4 or 5 people that are behind a little bit. I had one that was greatly affected by this. I reached out to him and he was basically ghosting me. I said, you can't ghost me. You have to talk to me. We have to discuss this. And so we set up a payment plan. I know when this is over, he's going to be $1,000 behind, $500 behind. There's going to be a number. And so we've agreed that when this is over, he's going back to work. He'll pay his rent plus $100 on top of it. And 5, 6, 10 months from now, he'll be caught up. What people are doing, they're paying their rent, they're paying what they can. And I actually have multiple tenants that are actually making more money and paying better now than they ever have, because they have both spouses collecting more money than they did at their waitressing or part-time jobs. You're looking at an average of $5,000 to $6,000 for every time a tenant moves out if they've been there for 2 or 3 years. Landlords don't want to spend that money. They want you to stay. But at the same time, you have bad landlords that they basically, they don't do the job right. They don't fix things. They don't clean things. they don't do anything they're supposed to be doing, and they shouldn't be landlords. And most landlords are not these big multinational corporations. They don't have 1,000 doors they're taking care of. In our landlord group, the average person has 3-5 rentals. Some of them only have one. There's very few that have over 10 rentals. It's a very unusual. So they're basically mom and pop.